Today's fast-paced business environment, fueled by technological innovation, demands that companies deliver a consistently positive customer experience. When IDG Research surveyed IT leaders and asked if they are confident that their company was giving their customers a positive experience, the majority said no. We have a lot of great research to go over and discuss, but before we dive in, can you just give a definition of business service reliability? What is it?
Sure. It's a new concept, so it's exciting. It's sort of unique right now in the marketplace. It's the idea that traditional IT, which focuses on the silos of availability, whether that be application, database, hardware, whatever, should sort of be flipped upside down to where you start at the top first. So you're focusing on what your customer does to actually give your company revenue. So in reality, business service reliability switches or changes the paradigm for IT from being focused on these individual components to actually being focused first on the customer experience.
Okay, so the majority of our respondents said that they considered business service reliability to be domain uptime.
Okay.
So that's not really what you're saying at all. Is that the major disconnect? Why companies aren't able or aren't doing a very good job of delivering a really good customer experience?
Yeah, that's the main issue. So domain uptime is certainly important. So if you're relying on databases and you're relying on mainframes to provide data for your customer, then it is important that they're up. If they can be up 100% of the time, that's perfect. But in my line of work and working with CA, I have a chance to meet with a lot of companies whose actual domain uptime is excellent, 99.99%. So as far as business services go and the reliability of business services, there's more involved than just availability metrics.
So the shift is away from a component-centric approach. So can you give an example of what this might look like in a company?
Absolutely. So I like how you said shifting away from component-centric. So for instance, let's say that you're a bank. One of your main, and you have an online presence, one of your main business services will be when customers come and log on to check their account. And let's say that the first thing they want to do is transfer money from savings to checking. Well, if you work in the IT department for a bank that's doing that online for their customer, you know that it probably takes dozens, if not more, transactions to make that happen. Well, in business service reliability, you do continue to measure and mathematically look at those individual transactions, but the difference is you roll them up into a single measured entity, which is the business service.
The survey found that 61% of respondents feel that IT's response to end user experience is adequate. That's not very good.
Yeah.
So how can companies improve on that?
Well, I think it's important to actually speak the language of your customer. So traditionally there is a disconnect, if you want to know the truth, between what we do in IT shops versus what our business side does with our customer. So an IT shop is always focused on providing new features in our software, for instance, or providing a good infrastructure for that to run upon. But it's important to know exactly what that infrastructure and that application is providing to your customer.
How many companies actually have the people who've developed these applications that the customer is going to be using, you know, that interface, actually sit down at the computer and say, okay, pretend I'm a customer and let's see how it works, to see what the customer experience would really be like. Do many companies do that?
I do see departments sort of flourishing or coming up right now that are called customer experience departments, but I do not see on a consistent basis a lot of companies that employ actual formal programs that measure the customer experience after the fact. So what I see is what I described, where before you actually roll something out, you know, you're getting the customer feedback on the features that you're rolling out, but that still isn't the same as customer experience.
Thank you, Tony. This has been a very interesting conversation. You've offered a lot of good advice.
Thank you, Deb. It's great being here.